a picture on where interest rates are going, but this is the first one. Reading not the whole article, it's just what I underlined. So if you guys are listening only and you want to know how much I edited out, you can go catch the videos, full videos on Spotify or the Run Your Mouth, Robbie the Fire channel on YouTube. All right. During a 45-minute meeting with Warsh on Wednesday at the White House, the president pressed Warsh on whether he could trust him to support interest rate cuts if he were chosen to lead the central bank. According to people familiar with the meeting, Trump in the Journal interview confirmed that reporting. He thinks you have to lower interest rates, Trump said of Warsh, and so does everyone else that I've talked to. And so there you have it. Donald Trump is ensuring with an independent Fed that if whoever he brings in for this very prestigious job, that they're going to enact his agenda of lowering interest rates. So there you have it. That's an independent Fed for you. Is Donald Trump letting you know that he's conducting interviews, and the only way that anyone is getting an interview is if they sworn themselves to Donald Trump's low interest rates. There you go, independent Fed. That's a great system there. That the guy who hires you, it's a little bit like when the credit agencies were being paid by the firms that they were giving the credit ratings to. And so, like, sure, you need me to mark these subprime mortgages as fantastic as prime loans. You got it, no problem. But here you have it. That's our system here. And so you got Donald Trump pretty openly letting us know in a very most transparent administration ever that the Fed is no longer independent, and he's replacing Powell, and he's ensuring that he's only talking to candidates that are interested in a lower interest rate. Let's continue. Trump said he thought the next Fed chair should consult with him on where to set interest rates. Typically, that's not done anymore. It used to be done routinely. It should be done, the president said. It doesn't mean I don't think he should do exactly what we say, but certainly where we are, I'm a smart voice and should be listened to. And there you go. There's an argument. Hey, listen, I'm the smartest, most common sense. And it's the idea that the guy who's supposed to be in an independent position wouldn't consult with the smartest guy who knows the most is a ridiculous way for another government agency to exist. I don't even think the Supreme Court should Supreme Court, because I'm more supreme with my thoughts. And so, if they're going to sit down, all 8 of them, they're going to come to a conclusion. They might as well call me up, because obviously my thoughts are more supreme than they are. And then here's just the last thing I highlighted. We should have the lowest interest rate in the world, he said, which I'd love to hear more on that logic. I guess he doesn't want to have the strongest currency in the world. He doesn't want to have a strong dollar. He doesn't want to have the most reliable currency. He doesn't want to have the lowest inflation. But what Donald Trump does think is that we should have the lowest interest rate in the world. You got to be Donald Trump always wants to be the best. And one of the things he wants to be the best on is to have the weakest currency and the highest inflation and the most debt. And so in order to do that, you also need to have the lowest rate in the world. And so when he's hiring now, he needs to make sure that there's other people who are as smart as he are, and they understand that the only way that America can be successful is if we're competitive against other countries that basically just peg their interest rates to us anyways. And we need these people to we need other people to continue to demand our dollar and to lend us money. And the way to continue the scheme is to make sure that we pay them less when they lend us money. But listen, Donald Trump's the smartest. So, if we're not understanding it, it's because we just don't get Donald Trump's brilliance. All right. And then this just one random line. It made me laugh, but this is from another Wall Street Journal article. Fed officials diverge over inflation risks. And so apparently, usually when they vote, they are all in line. I think on the last vote it was different because there was one dissenting opinion. This one was even rarer because I believe there were 3 dissenting opinions. Yeah, the central bank voted 9-3. So I think it's pretty rare on an interest rate vote that you do have 3 dissenters. But I just love this line. All right, everyone brace yourselves. If we can just get the dust out of the air, fundamentally, rates can go down a fair amount from where they are today. Does anyone know what the fuck that means? There are a bunch of words in there. I don't know what he means by dust out of the air. I don't know what he means by that. I don't know how getting dust out of the. I mean, listen, I'm not so autistic that I think he is literally referring to dust in the air. I think he's referring to something in the something in the economic environment that he wants to refer to as dust in the air. And I don't know what this distorted signal is that he thinks is getting in the way of lowering interest rates. Maybe he thinks that the faulty data about stronger jobs is the dust in the air, and that our economy is actually doing much worse than it is. And since Donald Trump temporarily shut down the government, and we don't have great economic reporting right now, we have dust in the air of us thinking that our economy is doing better than it is. And so really, we're not at risk for inflation because we can really juice the economy right now. And so if we could just get the honest, maybe that's what he's referring to, is that we don't have good numbers right now. Even Powell said that he thinks that employment is currently overstated, and that's why they're lowering interest rates. I'm also kind of working off headlines, but then again, sometimes I just remember these things because I remember the three and I had glanced at this. But if I've ever read a statement and I'm like, I don't know, I mean, it's fun. This is a guy, Goldsby. I think is he one of the Fed people? Yeah, that's the Chicago Fed president, Austin Goldsby. So this is the Chicago Fed president, as reporting to the Wall Street Journal. If you were looking for more clarity about the interest rate in our economy, the quoted sentence to give you better clarity on it is that if we can just get the dust out of the air, fundamentally, that's a fun word to throw in there, rates can go down a fair amount. Also, a fair amount. How do you want to define fair amount? What are the fundamentally? What are the fundamentals of this new economic indicator of dust in the air? All right, maybe you guys aren't as much of a fucking nerd as I am that you just thought that was a hilariously nonsense statement. All right, let's just skip this one. But